I'm 56 years old and I still live in the same house that I was born in, which is right next door to my Uncle Jerry and Aunt Mary, who have lived there their whole marriage, 68 years. Irish Catholic, 9 children, 38 grandchildren, 52 great-grandchildren.
Nobody even knows how many great-great-grandchildren. We were all teenagers here back in the 1970s. All of us were Irish Catholics. Every night, 100 kids would gather out in the park and hang out. Think about that.
Every single one of them had one crush on another kid in the park. It was competitive.
And every night, there was at least one fight over them girls with the crushes.
Johnny and me, we've been married since '81. And me and the girls, we haven't seen him in a month. He's been with his mother. Now that Jerry and Mary are gone, Johnny and me are the only Irish left. Gentrification. Ugh, millennials. Don't get me started.
Jerry was a tough guy. Sanitation worker. He had these huge arms that I'll never forget. Back in the 60s, Jerry owned a bar up on a hill called the Shamrock. Everybody called it Jerry's Joint. The joint, you know? So one day, these two guys from Bay Ridge, they decide that Jerry must be rich because he owns a bar. He's a garbage man, for crying out loud.
They kidnap him and hold him for ransom for 3 days.
But what they don't know is that Mary's just as tough as Jerry. Little Mary.
She is 4 foot 10 inches tall. Every time they call and ask for the money, instead of paying up, Mary says, "Okay, but remember, we're looking for you."
After 3 days, the police find them holed up in this 4th floor attic someplace. They come through the door, untie him, and Jerry says, get this.
"Before I pee."
That's what he says. Before I pee. Would you mind leaving me alone with him for 5 minutes?
I don't know why the cops did it, except that they're Irish too and maybe not so smart. But they say okay. They walk out of the room, close the door behind them, and then within seconds, they hear this blood-curdling scream.
They rush back in, and Jerry is hanging a guy out the window by his ankles.
But this is the kicker.
He was going to kill him.
The cops brought Mary with them, so she's there waiting when Jerry comes out of the building. Jerry walks up to her. He's so glad to see her. He's got tears in his eyes. But before she goes and hugs him, Mary looks him dead in the eyes and says, "Why didn't you drop the guy?"
Why didn't you drop him?
Mary was even tougher than Jerry. You have to be tough to have 9 kids, 38 grandkids, and stay married for 68 years.
But I'll tell you something. The 2 of them was gentle, too. Every morning, Jerry made 2 cups of tea with milk in those little china cups with pink and blue flowers all over them. And every night, he made another 2 cups. And they drank it together before they went to bed. It was their ritual, you know?
Jerry and Mary died within inside of 3 days of each other. Jerry died of coronavirus. Mary? Because Jerry called her to come have tea with him.
It was their ritual, you know?